Kirk, you were talking about a business person that you got to meet that had $100 million exit, and he was having such an issue, and over 10 years didn't have a financial controller. How would you have approached that business? Like, how would you have approached to help them with this exit to maximize everything?
Yeah, 100%. So it was kind of strange. It was a mastermind that I was going to for the day, and I got a text for a workout session before the mastermind, and I showed up, and it was a group kind of workout deal, and my partner was a guy who he sold a company for about $100 million. Really cool guy, really good at business, kind of a go-giver, gives back to a lot of guys, runs a coaching program. And just talking with him in the mastermind, they brought him on stage, and my takeaway for that event was he said the company was about 14 years old when it sold, and they did not bring in a financial controller, to start really getting the down and dirty on the finances until about year 10. And so he said they prepped for 4 years to sell. So obviously you're like, you have an idea that you want to put this thing out for the world to look at buying. People come in and say, well, that's dumb. I don't like that. And that's what a lot of the private equity companies come in and say, well, you got an issue here. Your books aren't clean. You don't have systems and processes. So what he was really doing was like having them come in to look, and then he would kind of see what their pain points were, and he'd start working on his business. Yeah. So for the business owner, I think, and this is everything, to have the end in mind, right? And so if you just start like, if you don't have if you're going on vacation and you don't have a map, or like even know where you're going on vacation, you just start driving, that's kind of strange, and you'll probably end up, who knows, maybe have an amazing time. Yeah. But if you're in business, you should say, hey, our goal is to get to these revenues, and then look at potentially selling this company or creating an ESOP for our employees and step back and actually, collect money and kind of whatever you want to do. I'm always not for selling to private equity, especially if you have family. Like, why can't we turn this into a multi-generational family to fire off wealth for 50 individuals? But just having the end in mind and realizing that, the things that you manage, that, you can grow. And so that's why we're really big, in our virtual family office and founder cash flow management. Yeah. We don't care if you have, $5,000 a month, if you're one of the kids, or if you've got, $5 million a month. To manage these things and to actually control the money, I think it helps you make better decisions on growing, marketing, budgeting, growing, hiring. So really managing early on the things that you can manage. Now, I'm not saying everybody's got to pay for a CFO to come in. Yeah. But what if you got quarterly? Yeah. Just somebody to come in and look, you may have to get through 3 or 4 of them and say, hey, these all sucked, but you may finally get a guy that can sit down and say, hey, if we improve this one thing, it'll leverage. If we improve this one thing, it'll leverage. And that's what we ultimately do when we come in. Yeah. We're like, dude, you're hemorrhaging. Way too much personal liability. If this thing goes sideways, this is the Titanic. Yeah. And so we do our part with our trust and estate planning team and our tax planning team, and that solves a lot of issues. But, having a controller in the company focusing on strategic growth for an exit is invaluable. Yeah. You start the conversation before. Yeah. So do you know what a 1031 exchange is, David? Have you heard of that? So I think it's less than 20% of 1031 exchanges actually go through. Interesting. Well, and it's mainly because there's a process to it. You got to find a property. And it's like, hey, we're selling our property. We need to do a 1031 exchange. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. For those that don't know what a 1031 exchange is, it's a deferred cap.
Quick explanation. Yeah.
So when you have a piece of real estate and you go to sell it, you'll have a capital gain. Anything above your adjusted cost basis, what you own the property for, plus your improvements, everything above that is pretty much capital gain. And depending how long you hold it, it's either short or long term. But the tax code allows you to roll that profit into another property of like kind or greater, and in essence, kicking the tax liability down the road. Yeah. And so 1031 exchanges are great, but with proper trust planning, you don't even need a 1031 exchange, which is pretty wild. Yeah. So, but the idea is you get too late into the game And now you start asking the important questions after the ship has sailed.
Yeah.
And you're like these business owners who exit and they're like, what do I do? You know, it used to be able to actually do 1031 exchanges on business sales.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And that's a benefit from the government. Like the
Yeah.
1031 is a benefit from the
Yes.
state.
Yeah.
And they can yank it.
Yeah.
You know,
Which you're saying it's like only a certain percentage does get approved for it. So it's like,
well, it's not that they don't get approved necessarily. It's that they can't get the new property that they want to meet their liquid money.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're selling this thing and you got to take that and go into something else. And if you can't come up with the money, or maybe the interest rates are too high, or you can't find a good market, it's just got to be a perfect dance to exit and go into a 1031. And that's why I think it's less than 20 of them actually 20% go through.
That's why.
But they would probably be a higher percentage that would go through if they started asking questions earlier.
Yeah.
And got their 1031 team going and, you know, 6 months to a year prior.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're going to exit, start looking. I want these markets, you know, these parameters.
Yeah.
But we just usually ask the question too late in the game.
Yeah. And that, I mean, bringing it back to, you know, this workout buddy, like, I mean, it seems like that's the thing, is like starting with the end in mind is a great way to start, but it's like, you know, what's the best time to plant a tree?
Right.
Like yesterday, the next best time to plant it is today. And so that's kind of where it's like, or 100 years ago.
I know exactly what you were saying.
Oh, dang, yeah, 100 years ago. But the
I think
next
that was
best
like a
time,
George Bush moment.
Precisely, yeah.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, and you cannot fool me again.
Watch me hit this putt.
Yeah.
Oh man, but that's great. So, if they want to know how to help learn the best way to end or the best way to move forward, what would you say for that?
I would say, you know, click the link below and sit down and do an introductory call so you can start to look at the tools available for your situation. Yeah. Different for everybody. Guy selling $100 million company, a little bit different than a guy, you know, selling a pool route for, you know, $100,000. Yeah. Principles are principles. They work unanimously here and in India and in China, but we kind of got to look to see what you're up to, start planting the seeds now, put the systems in place, get the appropriate people in place, tax plan and everything in place. That way it can be seamless.